Hi everyone, it's Amanda Hartman here. Just a really super quick video today. I'm just going to show you a couple of quick time tools for the iPad, and it's just something that often comes up in our workshops. Somebody showed it to me, so now I'm going to show it to you. I've added a couple of extra things in there, and this is about how we help our students to manage the time using the iPad, and we're talking about how long they use or are able to access the iPad, and perhaps a couple of apps that also might support some of that in just terms of sharing and managing the time on the iPad. So if you want to follow us, you've obviously come today, watch this video via our blog, but you can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. So the first thing that we're going to go into the iPad and we're going to have a look at is this. We're going to look at the stop playing function, which is part of the iPad timer, and I'm going to show you how to set that up. What this does is it allows the iPad to basically be turned off at the end of the time that you suggest. So if you've got a student and you know they have to work on a task for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever their time is, you can set this on, and what will happen is the iPad will close down, and we'll look at how that looks when we go over to the iPad. So this is a way that you can also manage and control perhaps their leisure time. If you're at home and your child is you know, they've got reward time and they can use the iPad to play a game, but you don't want it to take over the entire evening. You just say, okay, you've got 20 minutes now, and then the iPad's going to get packed away. And you know, so this is one of the things. Another thing, so what we have to do is we actually have to set up a passcode that they wouldn't know, and then use this stop playing feature. So I'm going to show you how to set that up on the iPad. That's the first thing we'll look at. I'm also going to show you this app by Touch Autism. It's a timer for YouTube. I do have some families that suggest that children who like to access YouTube are in there for a while, and so this is a way that we can manage how long they can actually access their YouTube, the YouTube account. And then just another really quick one that I use quite often is Sharing Timer, and this is another way to manage time so that kids are taking turns on an activity. It's a really fun app. I often show it. It's a little bit different, but we were talking about time tools, so I thought I may as well show it, throw it in there today. So let's go out and have a look at the iPad now. Okay, so we're looking at my iPad screen, and what I want to show you is we're actually going to use the native iPad clock app that comes loaded automatically. So it's one of the free apps that comes loaded, and the version that I'm showing you was from iOS, I think 5 or 6 onwards. So if you've got a really old operating system, you might not have this. So you want to make sure you update your operating system. Okay, so in the clock you can see we can look at the world clock, so we can see what time it is on the other side of the world. There also is an alarm there and a stopwatch. And lastly, we have the timer function. Now this timer is actually quite a nice visual timer. So if you could put this up on your whiteboard in the classroom, and you could set it and say, okay, everybody, you've got 2 minutes to finish that, and you can start, and you can see they've got a big clock face and also the red bar ticking around there, and you'll get a ringtone there. So we can use this clock to manage time and tasks in the classroom and have it as that visual timer, which is really necessary for some kids to know how much longer do I have to work on this. But I'm going to show you another feature. We're going to use this timer feature to actually set up so that the iPad will basically turn off or stop at the end, so that we can manage how long a student's playing on the app. So first of all, I'm just going to turn that timer off now, because I have to actually go into my iPad settings as my first step. So I'm in my iPad settings in my cog, and down on the left hand pane I have the passcode section here. Now the passcode is what you put on, so when your computer goes to sleep and when it wakes up again, you'll encounter your opening page and you slide to unlock. So what we want to do is we want to put a password on there, so that when it goes to sleep, when it turns off, the kids have to put in a passcode. So you obviously don't want the kids to know this passcode, all right? So we don't want the kids to know this passcode. So let's turn on the passcode. And I'm going to enter in my passcode here. It's going to ask me to do that again. Now I've got the passcode on. Now that means is when my device goes to sleep and comes back to to wake here, when I slide to unlock, I now have to enter the passcode, which you guys know my passcode, 7010. But if you're setting this up for a student, please make sure they don't know the passcode. However, one of the things that you might want to do in this instance when you're here, if you go down to the bottom of this pass lock section is, can you see a section that says erase data? So this says that it will erase all data on this iPad after 10 failed passcodes are attempted. Okay, so if I turn that on, it's actually saying all data on this iPad will be erased after 10 failed passcode attempts. So if you have a student that's going to just try and enter in their passcode on their own, you want to make sure that that is not turned on. So you don't want to see the green bar, you want it turned off, because you don't want to lose all the data on your iPad if they try and enter in and guess what your passcode is after 10 times. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. So make sure that it is turned off. I've seen some iPads where it was on and some that it was off, so just make sure that that's turned off so that if you do have those students that are going to try and figure out the passcode. So we've done the passcode lock. Now we can go into our clock setting here, and I'm back in the timer here, and I'm going to set and say to the student, okay, you've got 1 minute to complete this task or to play this game. I'll let you, whatever the time is. Now I would always tell the student how long they've got as well, so they know you've got a few minutes left, you've got this much time, and at the end of that the iPad's going to turn off. If you want to do more, you'll need to come over and find me to enter the passcode. I would explain to them what's going to happen. Don't just do it to them, because that might distress them depending on the student. So what you need to do is down the bottom where we push to choose a different ring tone that we'll make. So you can see this is where you'll hear all your sounds and stuff. So I've got it on cosmic at the moment. Okay. If I actually go, sorry, that's making noise. If I go all the way to the bottom there, so these are all my different sounds that I could get, but right down the bottom is a button that says stop playing. Stop playing means the whole iPad will stop playing and go to sleep, which is good, right? Okay, so I've selected the stop playing. I'm going to start that time now. So however long you've prescribed, the student is now allowed to go out of the timer and they can go and find a game that they actually want to play. So they're going to just go into the game and they're going to be playing that game for the minute. So let's just go into one of these games here, perhaps. Check the volume. Okay, so here I am, I'm just playing the game. I'm going to put my wheels on. Build all my bits of my Lego car. Oops. Pick a man. He's going to get in the car. So in a minute my time is going to be up. My 1 minute on my time is going to be up. And so here I am, I'm the student, I'm just playing the game. And what you're going to see happen, okay, my time just went up. My time just went up. So the iPad stopped. I went back to this screen. Now I have to slide to unlock and I'm presented with my passcode page. So if I don't know the passcode, I have to come and see you. I have to say, okay, I've finished my 5 minutes. The iPad stopped playing now. Can you put the passcode in for me? Or can I have another 5 minutes? Or the iPad's time to finish. We're going to pack the iPad away now. Okay, so that was the first one that we did there. So we had the we were using the stop playing here. So I just set the stop playing down the bottom there, and it meant that we could choose how much time we had. Okay, another one is an app that I'm going to show you called Timer for YouTube by Touch Autism, and this allows again for you to be able to time and control how long the student is on YouTube. So I've dropped the drop down arrow. It does have a whole lot of time there, so let's just say for this demonstration of the video that we're only going to let them have 30 seconds. Now when I first opened up the app, I was in this section where it let me set up a code. So I've already set up my code down here. Again, a code that only I know. And I go into 7010, which was my code, and I start the timer. And it takes me into the YouTube within it. But it's only going to let me use YouTube for for the 30 seconds that we set. So I've only got 30 seconds, so I better go quick. One of the things that you might like to do when I'm in YouTube, I always sign in, because then I can have a look at my history and I can look at videos that I've already played. So sometimes kids like that as well, to look at the ones that they've already watched, or if you've set up playlists or channels or anything. I would also go into the settings. Oh, my time was up. My time was up. That was 30 seconds, didn't last very long. I'll go back in just quickly. I can change that code anytime, so if the kids accidentally figure it out, I can do it. So I'm back in YouTube now. I've got 30 more seconds to show you one more thing. If I go into the timer button there, one of the things that you might want to do is make sure in that safety mode that you have safety on, and that's the advantage of logging in and making sure that that you've got there. And you can also perhaps look at some of your privacy stuff, but that's just, oh, our time's up again. So just make sure that you're doing that sort of safety privacy stuff in your YouTube when you're logged in, and that way, safe videos are coming up, and also if you log in, you've got your history. But the point of this app is to time it so that you are the one that's choosing how long they're on YouTube for, which is very good, because if we let the kids, they'd use up all our data on YouTube in the first week, right? They'd be YouTubing their little hearts out. Okay, so I'm going to close out of that app now, and I'm going to show you a different one, which is a little bit different, but it is very much another visual timer that can be useful. So you can see I've set this up. I can add as many students as I want. I can set the time to be whatever I want, and I can set the activity. So this activity is that it's Jessie's turn, and she's got 15 seconds to play with the ball. So when I say start, you can see the time ticking away down there, and you can see who's in the line next. So this is a visual timer that's really useful in the classroom for helping know whose turn it is and whose turn is having the turn next and all that sort of stuff, and at home. Okay, so that finished, and then the next thing pops up. It's now saying, okay, it's time to share. It's Olivia Bell's turn. And so we start the next player, and there's Olivia Bell now. It automatically goes into there. So just really easy in your setup there. You can see you can add numbers, you can change your activities, you can give them time per turn and add a sound and everything. So it's actually really, really easy to add as many players and whatever activity you want that they're doing, and to change how long they get to play for. So a really good visual tool. A different time tool. So you've seen a couple of different time tools that can help manage behaviour and timing and all that sort of stuff on the iPad. So I hope that helped. See you later.